Hello guys, welcome to Good Macro Projects. Kindly check this application out. When I say Joe, I say generate, it gives me a password. So cool. In this video, we're gonna develop this using React, hooks, and Redux. If you want to type along with me, okay, npm install Redux, npm install React Redux, npm install Redux DevTools extension, and for npm install Axios. Now, with all said and done, let's begin. Thank you very much. Let's begin by creating 3 folders in our SRC folder. So we said first one, we say assets. Next one, create another folder and call it components. And create the next folder and call it Redux. Good. So let's take the first one, assets. Now in this application, we don't have any images, so let's leave it blank. We take the next one, components. The components, let's create a folder and call it user. Now in the user folder, let's create a file and call it password app. .js, like that. So it's our boilerplate, RAFCE. Instead of ordinary div, we're going to make it to React fragment. The fragment, okay. And inside that, we can say h1 tag. Then we say hello. Sorry guys, h1. Good. Now let's link that to the app.js to view on the screen. We go to app.js, then we import password app. Let's import that. Import password app. Good. So that is that. Let's check our screen. Great, we got hello on the screen, so it means we're ready to go. So before we go, let's look at the structure for the application. Now in this application, I want us to have a card, and the card, let's have a header as usual. Then we have a password container. Now we're going to have our inputs here and the name and password over here. Okay, then beside that we can have our font awesome. Then beneath it we can have our button here, generate button. That is the structure for the application. So with all said and done, we can begin. So let's close the app.js. Now we go to the app.js. Let's take the h1 tag off and create a div via f. Good. And give the class name equals card. Good. Now inside a card, what we need a card header and the body. So we say C. Over here we can say inside a card, we're gonna say card header, and down here we can say card body. So let's do the editing. So the first one is card header and the second one is card body. So that is that. Let's take the first one, header. Now the header, what do we need? We need an h4 tag. H4. Good. Now inside the h4 tag we write our title, or we say random password generator. Good. So that is that. Let's check that out on the screen. Good. So we're gonna put everything to the middle. So to do that, let's go to our CSS. Go to CSS, then the body. We say display grid, place items center. Oh, sorry, tr center. Then height, we say 100 VH. Then the background color, let's skip this one. So let's check that out. Good. So guys, as you can see, it comes right exactly into the middle. So that is that way the positioning. Now next is to make the, what do you call it, the header beautiful. So let's add some background to it. So we say dot card header AD. Let's give it a background. Good. Let's give it a linear gradient. So that we say to right. Go to right, comma. Then we give it hash 1A1D12. Good. Then comma 021A85. Okay, let's check that out. Great. Now next thing to work on the color. So go back, then we say card header H4. Let's take this off. Inside that we can call color, say white smoke. Let's give it font size. Okay. 25 pixels. Then font weight, bold. Then let's transform uppercase. Okay, let's check that out. Great. Now what we need to do next is to work on the body. So let's go to the body and create a password container. So down with the header, so now the body. Over here, let's create a password container. So we say div. Inside I give the class name and call it password container. So inside the container, now the container we need to give it some width and height. So we go back to our CSS, then we say password container width 400 pixels, then height, let's give it 200 pixels. Let's give some background color, maybe red, so we can see what we're dealing with. You see that, guys? Good. Now next thing to do is to go back and create. You can take the background color off, we don't need it. Now let's create a user. Okay, so inside a password container, let's create a div. Inside the div, let's create a class name and call it user. Good. So inside the user, what do we need? We need an I tag and what? now input tag. These are two things that we need. So let's take the first one. The I tag, let's give it a class name. We call it FA user. Okay. And the input tag, let's give it a type. Type is what? Test. A placeholder. We say enter your name. So that is that for now. Let's check that out. Good. What we're going to do next is to take the user and display flex. So we say that user, let's display flex, and give it some margin. Margin, let's give it 30 pixels. Let's check that out. Great. Good. Now let's take the first one. Let's take the first one, which is the I tag, which is the FA, and work on it. So let's do that. We say dot FA. FA, what do? Let's give it the font size. Font size 25 pixels. Then let's give it some margin right. Margin right 8 pixels. Then give it a color. Let's give it hash, we say 0E008B. So let's check that out. Great. So next to work on is the input field. Let's style that one too. So we go down and we say input. Let's give it a height of 30 pixels. Then give it width 250 pixels. Then give it some font weight. Let's give it 600. And let's give it font size of 25 pixels. We'll say border none. And border bottom, we say 2 pixels. Solid, and give it a color, same color, say 0E008B. So that is that. Outline. Then what again? Let's give the background. We say transparent. Then let's give it a color. Let's give it hash 2400707. Then what again? Then let's say align test. Test align. Center. So that is that. Let's check that out. Good. Yeah, cool. So that is that. Let's check on the password too. Let's copy the same thing down. So let's see how to do that. With the user class, copy the user class. And we say, come down here, then we say password. password section. Good. And we paste it here. Okay, let's check that out. Great. So let's just change the name. So this one is going to be FALOCK lock. Then the test is going to be our password. Then it's going to enter your password. So that is that. Let's check it out. Good. So we get to go. Now, next thing to do is we need a spinner over here beside the password. So let's create a container for the spinner. So inside the user container, come down, then we say create a div, then we give it a class name and call it spinner container. Okay, now let's give the spinner container some width and height to check things out. So we say spinner container. Good. So that's a width 20 pixels, height 20 pixels. Let's give it some background color. Alright, let's check it out. Great. So that is that, guys. Let's give it some margin left 10 pixels. So we say margin left 10 pixels. Let's check it out again. Great, guys. So that is that. Next to do is to create a button underneath. So let's create the container. We say give it a class name and say div, div, and the class name we say btn container. Now inside the btn, let's create a button. We set btton. Inside the btn, let's create the name is what? Generate. Let's give some classes. Class name, let's call it btn. btn. Let's check that out. Good. Now let's position it at the center. Okay. So to do that, let's take the container, btn container here. Go to CSS, and we can say, sorry guys, btn container. This way. Let's give it, let's say display flex, then justified content center. Okay. Align items center. Let's check that out. Good. It's in the center. Now let's make the button. Also, let's add some, make it beautiful. So we say .btns. So to begin with, let's give it a height 40 pixels. Then width 150 pixels. Then border radius 10 pixels. Let's give it what again? Outline is a none. Then what again? Border, yeah, border, not a none. What again? Let's give the background color. So we say background color to give it. Let's give it the same color we give to the header. Let me go copy it. Do the same thing. Good. Let's just put it here. Good. Then lastly, let's give it font size and text color. So we say font size 25 pixels. Then color, give it white smoke. Good, let's check that out. Great, guys. Good, so that is that. Next to do is to call our spinners. Okay, now we need to call our spinners. So we need to create two spinners in such a way that one will be an animation spinner and the second one will now be animate. It will just be a stable one, so that when we call the API, the animate one can take over. Yeah, so let's see how to do that. Good. Let's go back to the component and create a folder called spinner. Now inside the spinner folder, let's create two files. The first one, let's call it no animate.js. Good. Now inside this, let's call our RAFCE. Good. Now inside that, let's give it called React.fragment. The fragment. What is that? Good. Now inside that, we can call our div and say div. Inside that, we can give it a class name and call it what? No animate spinner. Okay, that's the class. Let's take this off. Now we create a CSS for no animate spinner. Then after that, we come and create another spinner that is called animate spinner. So let's look at the no animate spinner. Let's go copy and go to our CSS, then create our no animate spinner. So I can say creating our spinner. So first we say good. Now let's see how to create our spinner. So we take the first one, border top. Now I can see it here. Border top, let's give it 3 pixels. Dashed then let's give it color blue. Okay, so we go to the next one, border right. Okay, so border right, where are you? Okay. Let me say 3 pixels, dashed, and give it a color. Let's call it green. And you take the third one, border bottom, same thing, 3 pixels, dashed, then give it a color, which is red. The next one, border left. We see border left, Same thing, 3 pixels dashed. Then let's give it black. So that is that. Let's give it some border radius, 50%. Then give it a height of 20 pixels. So that is that. To check that out, we need to add it to the password app. So we go to password app, then we call no animate. So we say import no animate from no animate. Good. Now to view our spinner, we need to call it in our password app. So you go to password app, then call the no animate file. So we say import no animate. Good, it's imported. Now after it's imported, we need to go to the spinner container and call it spinner container. Then we call it over here. We say, let's call it, I can just put no animate. That's it. Now the spinner container, let's check that out. Good. You can see that. Now let's go take the background off for the spinner container. So we go back to spinner container. Okay, that's it. So we can take this off. Don't need it. So checking, we can width and height too. We can take that off. We don't need it. And let's check it. Whoa! Let's check that again. Let's put it back and see. Better. So I think we need it. The height. Otherwise, we need to add height to this thing again. It has height. Needs width. 20 pixels. So that is that if you want to. So we can take the container off. Now let's check that again. Good. You can see that. So just that is that. So we create another spinner to the same thing, but this time it's what? Animate. So let's see how to do that. Now we go to our spinner folder, create another spinner file, then call it animate. Animate.js. Good. Animate. Let's go back. Let's our RAFCE. Good. So animate is ready. Instead of div, let's give it React fragment. React fragment. Good. Now inside that, we can now call a div and give it a class name and call it animate spinner. Okay, so we call animate animate spinner. So that is that. Good. Now we need to go to our CSS and create the animate spinner. Now our animate spinner, let's copy that. Good. Go to our CSS. Animate spinner is going to have the same. It's going to be the same thing like the no animate spinner. So we can just say comma, and we say dot animate spinner. Because it's just the same thing. But what changes is the keyframes. So we can say over here, we can say animate again. Then we give it what? Animation. animation go. Okay, now the animation, let's give it a name called spin, and we say spin 2 seconds, then linear, then what, infinite. So let's create the keyframes. It will say at keyframes, and our name is what, spin. Inside that, what happens, let's give it a 0%. What do we want to happen? Let's give it transform, and rotate. Let's do rotate. So rotate 0 degrees, and we copy the same thing for 100%. Sorry. And at 100%, rotate 360. So that is that. I think our Animate Spinner is ready. So let's check that out. We go back to password app, then import it. We say import Animate Spinner again. Now to call that, we go to the same place, the spinner container. Instead of no animate, we can just say Animate Spinner. Let's go. Animate. Go. Let's check that out. You can see it's now spinning. So that is that, guys. Now let's see how to. That is that, guys. Now let's see how to bind the inputs. Okay, let's see how to bind the inputs. So to do that, we need to import useState. So you say useState. Good. Then beneath that, we can say let what users, set users to bracket equals useState. We say into bracket, let's give it the state. We say name, the value empty, then password, password to value empty. So that is that, and we need to go to our inputs, then call the name. So we say go to our input, let's add a name to it. A name equals, let's give it name, and let's give it value, let's give it users dot name, and this one is onChange. The onChange, onChange, let's give it what, input change. Good. So that is that for the three. You can just copy that and take it to the password too. Password input. Good. We paste it there. Then edit it. We say name is what, password. User dot password. Then the onChange is the same thing, input change. So now let's create a function for input change. So we go up, then we say Good. Bind inputs. We will select input change equal to a function. Good. Let us set users will be equal to what? Good. Give us the state back. Give us the users back. Comma. Then give the event dot target dot name the value event dot target dot value. So we can have an event here. Yeah, so that is that. Good. To check that out, you can use a pre-tag and call JSON. So we say pre-tag. Inside that we call JSON. We say JSON dot stringify into bracket users. So let's check our screen. You can see the name and password here. So anything I tap here should appear there. So we say Joe. Charge you the password. Type anything you can see. So the inputs are now binded. So the next thing is to bind is the button. Okay. So let's go to the button and add an on-click function to it. So let's go to the button. Over here we can say on-click. Good. So we say handle btn. So now let's copy that and create a function for that. So we say handle button. So we say let handle btn equals function. Good. So inside that we can check that out and say alert what? Into bracket users. Let's check that out. If I type anything here, Joe, and I create a password, I say generate, you can see we have an object, so it means the generate to is working. So now we're ready for Redux to fetch our API. To begin Redux, let's close all this. Good. Then close user, then we go to our Redux folder. Now in our Redux folder, let's create a file. Let's create a file and call it store.js. Then the next one, we'll create another file and call it root reducer.js. Now in the same Redux file, let's create another folder and call it password Redux. Now inside the password Redux, let's create 3 files to call the first one pass.action types.js. Then create the second one, call it pass.actions.js. Then create a third one and call it pass.reducer.js. So that is that. Now let's take the first one, action types. Now the types of action that we're going to use in our Redux, one is we say export const load data request. equals the same thing, load data request in quote. So that is that. Now we copy the same thing 3 times, then we edit it. Second one, we give it load data success. Last one, load data success. Likewise, last one, load data failure. So that is that. So this is it for the action types. Next is the actions. So the actions, what do we need? We first import our action types. So we say import what? Import load data request. Come on. Load data success. Come on, the last one, load data failure. Okay, so that is that with our import. Let's rearrange them nicely. Good. So next is to import actions from actions. Good. So we say import actions. Sorry, it's caps A. AXIO actions from where? No, from actions. Yeah. So actions is ready. So next we say export const load data equals to a function that will return the asynchronous into bracket. That's where we have the function where we can use our try catch. So that is that. So the first one, let's take the try. Now with the try, let's dispatch. Let's dispatch. We dispatch a type called what? Load data request. So we have load data request. Good. Now we have to put dispatch here. Dispatch. Good. Now if the request is made, we need to get a URL. So we say let data URL equal to Okay, let's go to GitHub when I found this password API from Fawaz Zulia. Yeah, this developer has an API there. That's so cool, guys. You guys should check it out. So this is the API. I copy it. Yeah, API is a free one. Generate random password for varying complexity. Now this password is an API that leads to. So let's take it. Go back to our code. I paste the password API there. Good. So now next we say let response be equal to await then ashes dot get, we call that data URL. So when it is called to dispatch what? A type called what? Load data success. Come on. Then give it a payload response dot data. Okay, so that is that for the load data success. Now let's come to the error. Now should there be error, what do? Then dispatch what? Dispatch a type we call load data failure. Okay, come on, and then give it a payload what? Error. So that is that for the load data. So we are done with the pass.actions. So next is to go to pass.reducer. Now to begin the reducer, we need to import the data types again, the action types again. So we go back to the actions and copy the action type. So we say copy, take it to reducer, and we paste it. Good. You're good to go. So next is to create a feature key in the store. You will say export const pass key equals pass store. So we can say that. Next, let's initial state will be equal to. Now let's give the data the value empty array, and come on, we say loading. Let's give it what? False. Come on, then let's give error message. Let's give it empty. Good. So now we can continue and save that. Export const password reducer equal to a function that will do it. Inside that we can have state equals initial state, comma action. Good. Which can be further. We can say type comma payload equal to what? Action. Because the action contains a type and a payload. Good. So for our switch statement into bracket type, we can say that when a case where it is what? Load data request, what do? Then return return what? Return, give us the state back. Come on. And make loading true. Good. And how about a case when we have load data success? So I can just copy this, take it down to a case we have load data. Let's edit it. Success. Good. What do? Return the state back. Make loading false. False, comma. Then give data. Give it what? The payload. Good. So that is that for load data success. How about a case of load data failure? What do? Then return the state back. There's nothing like loading. So take it off and error message. Now error message, give it the payload. So that is that with a load data failure. So next is to what? Return the default state. So we say default should return the state. Yeah, so that is that. That is, we are done with the password reducer. So next is to go to the root reducer and import the password reducer. So we say import password reducer. Get from password reducer. Okay, that is that. Password reducer is ready. Next is to import combine reducers. So combine reducers. Okay. From Redux. Good. So finally we can go down and say let's root reducer be equal to combine reducers into bracket. Let's link the key. So we say pass key with a value. Let's call our password reducer a password reducer. Good. Let's import the password reducer. Good. So the pass key has been imported for us. So that is that. Let's export our root reducer. Now export the root reducer to where? To the store. So we go to the store, then we import our root reducer. Okay. Our root reducer is ready. So next is to import what? Create store and apply middleware. How do you spell it? Good, that's it. Middleware. Good. From Redux. Yeah, good, that is that. So next we need to import also compose with DevTools. So we say compose with DevTools from where? From compose. From Redux DevTools extension. Good. So and finally we need to import tank from From where? From Redux tank. Good. So that is that. Can begin now by saying let all middlewares be equal to an array. Then I pull the tank. Okay. When in future we can have more middlewares being added to it. So next we can say let store equal to create store to bracket root reducer, comma, compose with DevTools into bracket. Let's go apply middleware. So apply middleware to bracket. Give me all the middlewares. So we say all middlewares. So that is that. We can finally export our store. So we say export store. Now export the store to where? To the app.js. We go to app.js, then we import store. Import store from where? From Redux and store again. So that is that with the store. We also need to import provider. Import provider from where? From React Redux. So that is that. Now let's write the wrap the provider around the components. So we say over here I can just say provider. Good. Now inside the provider we can have our store equals store. I take the other provider downstairs. No cut. Good. Let's rearrange it nicely. That's good. So our store is ready. So next thing is to check to see if there is any complaint. So we go back to our browser and we have a complaint, unexpected token, expected this, okay, this bracket. So let's check that out. So let's take it off. Good. Now let's check our screen again. Good, no complaint. So now what we need to do is to check our Redux to see if everything is represented. So we go to our state, chart view, our row view. Yeah, everything is represented. So next thing is to link the store to the component so that we can call it. Okay, so let's see how to do that. So we close all this, go back to our component, we close our Redux, then we go to our component, we go to user, password, app, then we go import. Let's import use dispatch ch command and use selector again from where? From React Redux. So that is that. Now let's initialize our use dispatch. So we say initialize use dispatch. So we say let dispatch equal to use dispatch. Good. So use dispatch is ready. Now what are we dispatching? Now at the bottom we need to dispatch over here. Okay, so we go to the bottom side, take alert off, then we say dispatch. So dispatch what? Dispatch load data. Load data. Okay. Now the load data is in the Redux. You go to Redux and pass.action. This load data. Okay, this is what we are. There's where the API is. So we dispatch this. So now let's import it. So we go up. Then we say import load data. Load data. Okay. So that is that. So let's check our browser again. Good. Now let's check our store. Ready? Good. Yes, we got data. Wait, no, we don't have data. No. There's an error. Good. Yeah, guys, I checked the error and I realized that the API has an issue. The API needs to, let's go back to the actions. The API needs another slash, say slash generate. Good, so that's what we do. So kindly check the API. Now let's go back to our browser again. Now as it generates, let's check our store. You can see, yeah, we got data. We got data, guys. You can see the password being generated for us. Good. So next thing to do is to bring the store to the component. Okay, we bring it to the component. Let's see how to do that. So to do that, we need to call, let's close the actions, we need to call the use selector. Okay, so we can say, let me put that after binding, after pass initialize. Okay, let me put that up here. So we can say view what data from store. Okay, so we say let view password. Okay, let me call it view password equals to what? Use selector into bracket. Now inside that, create a function. Good. Let me see. Good. That's that. That will return what? Return the state and the key, which is what we said is pass key. And over here we can have our state here. No. State here. So that is that we need to import our pass key. The pass key can be found in the reducer. So we say import pass key, pass underscore key. Okay, pass key. No. From where? From Redux. Yeah, go to Redux. Redux, then password Redux, then pass reducer. That's that. So to check that the view pass out, we can use a pre tag and call JSON. So we can just call JSON there, then we say view password. Okay, the name is what? View password. So let's check our screen. Good. So we can see our store on the component. So when I say generate, you see our data soon. You can see our password has been generated. I click generate again, another password comes. So next thing to do is to bring the password generated to the, how do you call it, the password field. Okay, so let's see how to do that. So we go back to the input. Let's go to the input password column. Then we say the value, we say view password data. Then when we come down to the container, we can now say that let's create a function for the spinner. So we say if view password if view password loading equals true, then display what? If view password loading is true, what do you display? Display the colored, or the name, let me see my spinners again. Display the animate, otherwise display the no animate. So we say display animate. Sorry, animate. Otherwise display what? No animate. Okay, so that is that. Now let's check our screen again. So when I put my name there, Joe, and I say generate, let's see what happens. You can see the spinner say generate a password for me. Can you see that? It generates a password for me. Now I want us to see the password, so I can go make this place the password column. I make it test so you can see what I'm talking about. The type, let's make it test. Test. Good. So let's try that again. Put the name there, Joe. You can see that the password has been generated. Okay, you can see that. Very good. So next is take the pre tag off. Then we're done. So I take the pre tag off. Good. And I'll go back. Then we'll say call any name. We'll say Joe. We'll say generate. You can see. Yeah. So guys, that's that. Thank you for sticking to. Don't forget to do good. Catch you in the next one. See ya.